Now, there's something that I know is not the sexiest of topics, unless, of course, you are one of the many thousands of people who sit in this part of Australia, but I'm going to talk about you on the telly, right? Which is the number of people who are really being screwed over by the rental system at the moment. Now, put simply, there are not enough places for people to go and rent. Now, partially this is because of the Airbnb phenomenon, where essentially people are willing to rent it out for a couple of weeks rather than a couple of months or a couple of years. A lot of other different factors as well about what we incentivise, about investment properties and all the rest of it here. But there are a couple of examples here that there's an apartment that you can see on screen right now, which is in Adelaide. That's $400 a week, and you get the shower in the living room. There's another woman who, on Sunrise Beach, had applied 120 times for different properties before she eventually got one. Now, Bronwyn, I get it that there's a market, the government doesn't turn around and build houses, but something is wrong when we are getting to this stage where either we're not building enough things or we're not helping people buy investment. How do we fix this? Because honestly, $400 for the shower in your living room is ridiculous.
Well, yes, it is ridiculous. And how it was allowed to be built says something about their rules and regulations in Adelaide, doesn't it? But very simply, we haven't built enough houses. We're behind in the number of houses and apartments that are needed. Why would that be the case? Well, there'd be a variety of reasons, a lot of it to do with red and green tape about where you're allowed to build, what is the specification that's permitted, these questions. But I did see something very interesting coming out of Queensland. A man who has a prefabrication shop, who was building tiny houses, for want of a better term, which could be 1, 2 or 3 bedrooms. He had a plot of land where he wanted it to be, waiting on council approval, of course, but it could be then landscaped, and these would be houses that people could rent when they're in need and can be produced at a retail level. I think the figure was $125,000, and which he was prepared to make available to charitable organisations for a much lesser figure. Now, this sort of innovative thinking needs to be promoted, needs to be encouraged. And so it's no good saying that the blame is on investors. Investors have been around for a long time and using their houses, particularly Canberrans who like to go to the coast. But you can't, it didn't simply happen in a moment's time.
Yes.
It has been a gradual process, and I'm not quite sure when just how this has occurred right now, when our immigration policy is such that we're not letting people in. Fewer people are coming in on visas. There's something radically wrong, perhaps in the reporting of it as well.